Alexander searches for a way to reach the black-haired girl whose memory will not escape him. Alexander is standing on a beach littered with debris from his shipwreck. A path leads north into the lush green island. An occasional breeze rustles the nearby foliage. The remains of Alexander's sailing ship lie dashed upon the distant shore. In the distance, Alexander can see the peak of a mountain rising up from the base of another island. Apparently, the island Alexander is standing on is part of a chain of islands. Rocks abound on this lush volcanic isle. The ocean appears calm, but there's a dimpling pattern to the surface which indicates an undertow. Alexander's royal insignia ring lies abandoned on the sand. It must have slipped from his finger during the shipwreck. Fortunately, it was not lost in the sea. A long plank lies on the beach. No doubt it once belonged to Alexander's ship. A path leads inland to the north. Alexander promises himself that he will not go home until he has determined what Casima's feelings are for him, and if she needs his help.
Hello?
There's no reply to Alexander's call. No one remains aboard the broken vessel. No one on the other island could hear Alexander from here. The rocks are silent, as they have been for ages untold. The currents continue to murmur, but they do not reply to Alexander. The ring in the sand cannot talk. The plank seems bored and does not reply. Calling down the path is pointless. The ship is ruined. It has nothing further to offer Alexander. Alexander can't reach the other island's mountain from here. Alexander has no need to carry around large rocks. Alexander has no taste for salt water. To take the path, Alexander need only walk down it. Alexander picks up his royal insignia ring from the beach. Alexander's ring is made of the purest gold and has the insignia of the royal family of Daventry on its face. Alexander is already wearing his ring. Reminiscing of home is fine, but the ring is not a very good listener. Alexander feels his pockets carefully to make sure he hasn't lost anything. Alexander pushes the plank to one side. A box has been partially buried under sand. Alexander's treasure box lies partially buried in the sand. It must have washed ashore with the other ship debris. Money may indeed talk, but the treasure box can't. The box must have opened in the sea, spilling its treasure. Everything has been washed away, except for one coin of Daventry. There's a copper coin in the treasure box. The coin bears the seal of Daventry and King Graham's noble face. Alexander takes the coin and leaves the ruined box where it is. Alexander is carrying a copper coin of Daventry. King Graham graces the front of the coin. Alexander rubs his fingers over the indentation of King Graham's face on the copper coin and thinks fondly of home. Ah, if only Alexander's father could speak now and give his advice. Alexander is standing at a crossroads. To the left, he can see a village. To the right, a castle. From the south come the sounds of the sea. The path splits here, forming a crossroads. One branch heads northeast towards a distant castle, and one leads northwest into a small village. To the left, a small village seems to invite the weary traveler. In the distance, a majestic castle shines in the sun. A grand old tree stretches its luxurious limbs out over the crossroads. A hollow in the trunk of the old tree forms a perfect nesting place for wildlife. Large leafy ferns spread their fronds across the fertile ground. To take the path, Alexander need only walk upon it. To reach the village, Alexander need only walk there. Alexander will have to take the path to reach the castle. Alexander can see no reason to clamber about on the old tree. He would only scar its bark. Alexander examines the tree's hollow, but finds nothing of interest. The large ferns would be of little use to Alexander. The path wanders on its way without comment. The villagers might be more responsive if Alexander moved closer. Whatever inhabitants might live in the distant castle, they would never hear Alexander from here. The old tree must have witnessed many intrigues and many tragedies, but it keeps its stories to itself.
Hello! Is anyone in there?
There is no reply from the hollow in the tree. The ferns may appreciate the sound of Alexander's voice, but they do not reply. Alexander is standing in front of a fabulous castle. The path from the crossroads leads to the castle entrance. The entrance is being guarded by two dog-like creatures. The castle appears to be of Moorish architecture. Its marbled walls and delicate inlaid mosaics are unlike anything Alexander has ever experienced before. His own home, though lovely and dear to his heart, seems rough-hewn compared to this delicate beauty. The castle doors are firmly shut and bolted. Two guards take their stance in front of the castle doors. They look quite fierce and have the stiff, blank expression of soldiers on formal duty. The path from the crossroads continues north to the castle doors. A branch of the path leads off to the northwest, as though going around the castle. Formal hedges and bushes provide dramatic landscaping for the castle. There's a little hut just off the path. Perhaps the guard dogs have an occasional use for it, but it looks empty now. Far beyond the castle, Alexander can see a vista of mountains and trees. Whether they are part of this island or another is impossible to tell from here. To take the path, Alexander need only walk on it. The bushes are probably not hiding anything useful. Besides, they are too prickly to examine closely. Alexander cannot reach the distant mountains from here. Alexander can't pass through the castle walls, nor can he scale them with the guards on alert. The guards of the castle gate look like efficient fighters, and there are doubtless more of them inside. Alexander decides not to try to force his way in.
No strangers may enter the castle of the crown.
The path winds its way silently. The bushes are too prickly to reply.